Hello, good morning. We are going to make a new class now, and I hope you have already done the exercises with the ball and the inclined plane to start. I'm not going to do them, so we can take time to make more exercise, more asana preparation, and I wish you good practice. And Yogi too wishes you good practice. So I already did the exercises with the inclined plane and the ball. We don't need them anymore. We are going to put ourselves in our heels and just feel how the weight is going on both heels. Is it going in the same way, or is it's going in one side more than the other side? So just try to feel how this is going in the earth. The points where the skin is on contact with your mat, and how the pressure is generated on the skin. If your weight is coming towards the front or if your weight is going towards the back. If both hips are free, or if there is one that's turning very slightly towards the exterior and the other one towards the interior. If you have a tendency to turn if you don't do anything, it means the hips are not the same. Just try to feel this, how your body is aligning. To be in Tadasana, you need to be in the heels. Feel what's going on your knees. Feel what's going on your hips. Push your heels on the floor to create a connection between the crown of the head and the heels. And try to feel the movements of the body. Very slow, little movements in the joints. Try to feel your breath. Do you need to use your muscles of the cage to breathe, or it's done by your belly? Do you need to take air in, or it just comes in when you release your belly? And feel what's happening on your heels, feel what's happening in your feet. Are they active? Or one is active and the other one is doing nothing? Try to feel the connection between the heels and the crown of the head. We are going to work a little bit the balance, so you are going to need a brick. If you don't have a brick, you can take a box, a book, or something that's a little bit strong and like a brick. And you put the brick just in front of you. You don't need to have space between your feet. You have your usual space between your heels. and you push yourself towards the left heel, for example, to raise the right foot. But it's not a question of raising the right foot. First, the question is how to bring all weight in your left heel. And if you notice, there is a movement horizontally and there is a rotation in the hip. And once you have the rotation up in the hip, you have to see if your pelvis is aligned or it's collapsing. Try to create the connection between your crown of the head and the heel that's going to maintain all the weight. And once you have this connection and all the leg is active and tonicity is there, you can lift the other one, which is free from the weight. You put it on the brick and you leave it there. You don't put any more weight on the brick. You just keep all your weight in your left leg and try to feel if you are turning and if you are collapsing or if you are doing it with your shoulders. Trying to bring weight with your shoulders. You don't need this. You need to keep your pelvis horizontal and facing front. Keep all your weight on your heel and try to continue to find this connection between the heel and the crown of the head. It's like you have a weight on your head and you want to push this weight far away from your heel. You don't want the weight to crush your vertebra. If you want, you can bring your arms in external rotation, palms up, create space between the fingers and in the palms, and you keep pushing the crown of your head far away from your heel. This is the action. If you want, you can also put a small weight on your head. So this is a preparation to go towards the posture of the tree. And the tree is really connected in its roots. And it's because of the connection with the roots that it can go high. Otherwise, it cannot go high. And this is what we mean by pushing the crown of the head towards the ceiling. Searching to elongate the spinal column, all the vertebrae. Bring space between them. And bring space harmonically between them and not more in the cervical zone, less in the dorsal zone, and less in the lumbar zone. Everywhere. So keep pushing the crown of your head away from your heel. And observe your respiration. Observe the small movements in the joints of your legs, in the joints of your arms. Try to let the weight of your arms bring your shoulders down, lower and lower. and try to keep the posture stable. If you have tendency to fall, you can hold yourself on the wall or in a chair. With time, your ankles become stronger and balance becomes easier. Let the weight of your arms stretch your neck. Observe what's happening in the body. And then we are just going to put the other leg in the other side and just feel the difference between the two legs. You bring the arms down and feel what's happening between the two heels, in the two ankles, in the knees, in the hips, two sides of the belly, two sides of your lumbar zone. How is your weight expanding the sensations? How is gravity changing the sensations all the time? To go to the other side, I have to push myself with one heel to get to the other one. So I push myself towards my right heel. It's like I have the mat and I push the mat with my left heel and it brings me towards the right. And it's only a movement in the hips and not somewhere else. Once I bring my foot under my axis, or once I bring my pelvis in the axis of the foot, all my weight comes in my right heel and I push the right toe on the floor to bring more internal rotation in my hip and more stability in the placement of the hip and the pelvis. And then I try to connect my right heel to the crown of the head, and I try to feel if I have kept my pelvis in level and facing front, or if my pelvis is doing what it wants. I'm not gonna let it do what it wants. I'm gonna keep it as it should be, facing front and horizontal. Facing front and horizontal, that means that the spine is going to follow and stay vertical and facing front, in fact. Once I feel that the connection between my heel and the crown of the head is stabilized, I can lift the other leg, put it on the brick, and just keep all the weight on the heel, don't fall in the front. We worked a little bit the external rotation. So what we are going to do is we are going to interlock the fingers and put the palms facing down to work the internal rotation. This is external rotation, going towards the exterior of my axis, and this is internal rotation, going towards the interior of my axis. So internal rotation, we interlock the fingers palms facing down, and we can do this behind the back. It's more efficient. And so I let all my weight on my heel. I try to observe what's happening on the body. And also I try to make a comparison with the other leg. So just try to be stable, to keep all your weight on your heel, to push your big toe on the floor. Pushing the big toe on the floor. It is also a question of transmitting the movement and the information of rotation from the ankle towards your hip, in fact. And this is necessary for the knee to align. So feel what's happening on your knee. Is your thigh rotating with your calf, or the knee is blocked and there is no possibility of fluid transmission? Try to keep the connection between the heel and the crown of the head, and try to feel all the time what's happening in your feet, in your ankle, in the calf muscles, in the knee, in the thigh, in the hip, in the pelvis, on your belly, both sides. And try to stabilize this position. Normally this is a rest pose that people in many places can rest like this and talk with people and stuff. And this is a balance to find. There is nothing more. If you find the balance, everything gets stable with time. If you don't find the balance, you don't find stability. It keeps being a difficult pose. But you have to search the connection between the crown of the head and the heel. This is what is going to bring you towards the axis. Once you feel that your leg is a little bit tired, you can come down. Don't try to stay as long as I do. Sometimes I stay more than I should. It is just the 4th session we do. And I'm sure in a month you didn't gain as much stability as I have. So don't worry if it's not as stable as you see in the video. It is going to get stable. This is what we are doing here. So we are going to try to work a little bit with the chair today. And you are going to need the chair, so you bring a chair or whatever you have, it's all right. Something for not sleeping away on your chair. So what we are going to do is preparation towards Trikonasana, the triangle pose. At first we are just going to bring the foot on the chair. We leave the heel out of the chair. So if I show you where we put it, the chair is right here. There is a little bone that comes out. This is the small toe. This is the big toe, and this is where we put the chair. The heel is in the outside, and this bone is in the inside. So I come in a balance in my leg, and I put my foot on the chair. And being here, I start pushing myself towards the front with my back heel, and I start pushing myself towards the back with my front heel that pushes the chair towards the front. And I find the balance between these two forces. There's two horizontal forces, and I try to continue to push myself towards the front. I feel that the back of my thigh is active. It's propulsion with your leg. It's every step we take. This is how we do. If I want to bring myself towards the front so I can go towards yogi, for example, I am pushing myself towards the front, or I am pushing the earth towards the back. So I can come in front. I am not just bringing my center of the mass in front and letting myself fall every time I make a step. I am pushing myself towards the front. You can bend a little bit your back knee if you want to keep your pelvis in a level, horizontally, perfectly horizontal. And you keep pushing yourself towards the front with your back heel. It's necessary to push the mat towards the back. And you stay there. You don't have to come back and front. If you want to feel what's happening in the movement of your hips, you can try to do it in the beginning, and after you stabilize the two forces, you balance both forces and you stay there. And to go to Trikonasana, we need to work the external rotation. So if I push the chair towards the wall behind me with my foot, I will turn in my heel on the floor, and I keep pushing the chair towards the back. And what I'm going to need to do here is, as I am pushing the chair towards the back, I am going to need to bring my pelvis in an horizontal plane. So here I see that my pelvis is not facing front, and I'm not going to try to turn my shoulders to face front because I'm going to be in a torsion. I'm just going to stay with my pelvis. You don't need to turn for the moment. As much as I push my knee and the chair towards the wall, this is going to make me turn more and bring my pelvis a little bit more towards the front. And it's already something like this that we do in the triangle pose. It's because I'm pushing the chair that I'm turning. always. If I release, I will be here. But if I push, this force is going to bring me here. And this is necessary to release all muscles that connect your leg to your pelvis. All the external rotators are working. All the internal rotators are stretching. Not every one of them, but some of them. If I want, I can push also my knee towards the back with my arm and keep wanting to keep the pelvis in level. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my chair towards the front, so I can extend my knee, and I'm going to stay in the same position in the relation with my knee. I'm not going to change the angle between my body and my thigh, and I only try to extend my knee. And I keep it flexed, it's not there. The question is not to extend my knee and I'm here. The question is to keep the action active, to keep the action of pushing the chair towards the front, so I can unfold really slowly my knee. And I unfold the knee, I unfold the knee. This is what I do. I'm not trying to push as much as I can and come here and then do nothing. I am just unfolding my knee. With my hand, I keep pushing a little bit my knee towards the back, so I can keep the alignment between the ankle, the hip, and the knee. And I keep pushing the chair towards the front. Pay attention to your knee on the in the leg on the floor. You don't block your knee. Push your big toe on the floor and keep all the weight on the heel. The action of the hand is not necessary. You can also try to lengthen all the side, the front side. And the other hand, you can also put it in the back. And like that, you go towards the triangle without having all your weight in your front leg. You have more weight in the other leg, but the other leg it's already capable of keeping this weight in this geometry. In the triangle, we are a lot more like that. If you turn your screen, we are not like this. We go like this, without turning the pelvis. And then we are going to come in front by pushing the chair towards the front. I will change the side of the chair. Keep both weight on your heels and feel what's happening between the two sides. Feel the difference between the two hips, feel the difference between the two legs, but also try to feel the difference in the two nostrils, for example, and the two eyes, two sides of your mandibula. Well, you know, I don't have a great accent, but it's all right. It's clear enough, I think. So you come towards the front. In the beginning, we are just going to put the foot on the chair and push ourselves towards the chair, push the chair towards the front. So it's this first dynamics. I am maybe going to do it like this, so you can see also the other. So I come in a balance, and then I put the leg right in front of me. I don't try to put it in the exterior, not in the interior. And I keep pushing the chair towards the front and pushing the mat towards the back. But the chair here is not going to stay, so I will come here. If you have stayed there till the beginning, we are not going to stay as much as we stayed the other side. I keep pushing the mat towards the back with my heel. Try to feel what's happening in your knee. Are you blocking your knee, or it is active and pushing the mat towards the back? And you push yourself towards the back, always with your front leg also. Keep both actions and balance them. Try to create the connection between your heel in the back and the crown of your head. Bring extension in the hip. It's the contraction in the back of the thigh that will bring extension in the hip. And you can push both big toes on the floor or on the chair. Observe your respiration, observe inhale, observe exhale. Are there any pauses in between, or it's very fast? Normally, respiration shouldn't be influenced by this posture. It is obviously going to be a little bit influenced in terms of utilization of left and right side of your lungs, but otherwise this is not going to create a fast respiration or fast heartbeat, you see. Keep both actions of pushing. It's like there is an archer here that puts his hand here and wants to bring extension in the arc. And then we are going to push the chair towards the back, come here, and try to stay aligned. An alignment between the two heels and an alignment between the ankle, the knee and the hip. Push your chair towards the back. Pay attention to your knee in the other leg. Don't block your knee. And you also can push your knee a little bit towards the back. Keep your pelvis in level, horizontally. Just try to feel what's happening in your hip with these actions of pushing the chair towards the back at first, and then with pushing the chair far away from me so I can unfold my knee. And unfolding your knee, you just have to keep this action of pushing the chair towards the wall or away from you. The other hand can come in the back and in the inside of your hip. The other hand can also try to give you length in the side you're stretching. And I keep pushing my heel towards the wall, to push my chair towards the wall and to unfold slowly my knee. And you can also just let your hand on your shin. Don't collapse. Keep both sides long. You can also control both sides are long by putting your hands between the rib cage and the pelvis. And then we come in the middle. You can remove the chair and take a break. We are just going to test a little bit the Trikonasana without the chair. So we come with the feet apart 1 meter at least. We are going to rotate the fingers towards the exterior 90 degrees, and we lift the heel and we put it a little bit more towards the front. So here it's like in the first gesture when we push the chair away, and then we are going to push the chair away to unfold the knee. And there's nothing changing in my back. I stay long both sides. So you can just keep your hand on your shin bone, or if you find enough rotation in the hip and enough flexion, you can push also the brick on the wall, on the floor, and bring some more length in the upper body. But keep all the weight on your heel, in the front and in the back. Don't bring so much weight in your hand. Keep your pelvis facing front. Don't let your pelvis rotate. You can look in your hand, or maybe just look in front of you, it's alright. But just test if you can look in your hand and you don't have pain on your neck. If you have pain in your neck, you just look in front of you. Don't block your elbows. And then to come in front, my leg in the back is going to push my knee towards the front and flex it, and then we come in the front and we just try to feel the differences between the two sides. And also, every time you search for differences, search everywhere in the body and not only where we work. So you can learn little by little to see which part is connected with another, and which action is connected with which part. So we turn the fingers, the toes, 90 degrees towards the exterior, towards the left in this case. We lift the heel and we put it a little bit towards the front. And we are already in a posture that we work external rotation. And here, observe what's happening in your feet, for example. Is your weight in your heels? Are you not putting the weight in the inside of your feet? We don't want to create flat feet in this posture. We want to put pressure in the big toe to lift the ankle, the interior of the ankle, a little bit. Keep the pelvis facing front. And then we are going to push the mat away from the center, away from the center. So we unfold the knee slowly by pushing the mat away from me, away from the center. Keeping the weight on the heel. And I try to just unfold the knee, staying all the time in my heels. Pay attention to your back knee. Don't block it. Stay on your heels. Push the big toe on the floor. Even if it's a very small action, it's enough to send a message. You can take the brick and put the brick on the floor, or just keep your hand on your hip or on your shin bone, on your hip. It's when you cannot come down so easily on your shin bone, it's already quite an external rotation for your hip, or in the brick, as you wish. Don't block your elbow. Keep the shoulder down. Don't fall on your shoulder. Keep weight on the heels. Try to feel what's happening in the body. And keep unfolding the knee really slowly. Your other hand, you can come up with your hand. It's not like I want to bring all myself towards the ceiling, but it's just the hand that is being supported by the other hand. I can watch my hand, or maybe I can watch in front. Don't block any of your elbows. Let the posture pose you. to come in front. You just need to push yourself towards your front knee. You let it flex and you come in front. Stay with your weight on your heels. Feel what the difference is between the two sides. What's the differences in the lungs, two sides of the neck, two sides of your bones in the face, also in the cheeks, in the eyes, in the both sides of your nose, in the nostrils. We are going to take a brick again. And maybe if you have a rope, you can take a rope also. And find a length that can be maybe the distance between the space in your head, between the big toe, the thumb. I found it. The thumb and the second finger and your elbow, or maybe the distance between your two armpits. And you can put this around the elbows and take a brick, push into the brick. And what we are going to do, we are going to be on the heels, bring a triple flexion, ankles, knees and hips. Stay with all the weight on the heels and try to bring the brick towards the ceiling in a preparation towards the chair, Utkatasana. Don't forget the flexion in the hips. Observe your respiration. Is your perineum responding to your exhale and to your inhale? Keep pushing the brick like you want to bring your hands really close, but the brick is blocking you. Keep your elbows close to each other. Keep all your weight on your heels. And don't maintain your toes. Don't let them contract the front of your shin bone. You just put your toes on the floor like a cat's paws. You just keep all the weight on your heels. Feel the tonicity in the legs. Feel if you have any differences in the left and in the right side. And try to bring the brick towards the ceiling. Search for the connection between the heels and the crown of the head also. When you stay, you find the balance between activity in the front and in the back side of your legs. Don't let the rib cage come towards the front with your arms. and then we come straight. Triple extension. You can leave the brick and the rope. Try to feel what's happening in both sides. And we are going to come on the knees. So on the knees, as we have talked before, as much as possible on the back of the heels. We put our pelvic bones and muscles of the thighs and of as much as possible in the back of the heels to stabilize the pelvis. And what we're going to do is we're going to come on the heels, on the knees, without changing the place of the pelvis. Pelvis stay the same. It's only an extension in the hips. Once we are on the knees, we are going to bring more weight in one knee. Let a little bit of time for the weight to bring a small internal rotation in the hip. And once all my weight is in my knee on the floor, I will bring my leg towards the exterior, towards the right for this case. Keep my pelvis in level. Keep my heel on the floor and the big toe pushing the floor. And already here I can push a little bit myself push the knee towards the back to bring a little bit of extension here. And the other arm can come up. I am not trying to bring my hand towards my foot. I'm trying to find here flexion and to keep the pelvis facing front. And we are in Parighasana, but it's really similar with the gestures of Trikonasana. And we try to find length in both sides. And you stay there, you don't collapse any side, you stay there actively. If you want, you can look in your hand, but you shouldn't have any pain in your neck. Feel what's happening in your respiration. And we are going to come in the center to feel what's happening in both sides. You sit as much as possible in the back of your ankles, in the back of your heels. And this is a very good occasion to extend the ankles if you have problems with the ankle extension. To come to the other side, we need to go up without changing the pelvis. It's a hip extension only. I bring more weight in the knee that's going to stay on the floor, and then I bring the other leg towards the exterior. Right here I am in internal rotation everywhere, and I come in external rotation by going away with my heel. Maybe you don't see because it's so black, but normally if I want to do really well, I have to bring the heel in the same line as the knee. But it's going to take time to bring the pelvis facing front. If I cannot do it in the beginning, I can bring my heel a little bit more towards the front to keep the pelvis facing front, and with time, you see, we are going to be able to bring the pelvis towards the front. Don't block your knee in the front. You can push your knee towards the back to create a little bit more of external rotation. External rotation in the hip, basically. So it's this action that is going to keep me working the external rotation in my hip. Very important for pregnant people, for example, because it's going to release muscles between the hip and the pelvis, and also one part of the perineum. In each side I'm working, I feel differences in the perineum. So I push my knee away from me, and I can bring my hand towards the front and towards the ceiling, and I try to bring length in the side, which is going to facilitate respiration, because I bring length in all this zone of the belly, which is very compressed sometimes. It's like when we eat a lot and we cannot breathe. It's one of the reasons we breathe with difficulties. It's this thing. It's maybe not having enough movement in the bowels, having a baby. This can create pressure, and we need this length in all the abdominal zone to create more space and to be able to breathe easily. So I push my heel towards the front, and I try to create space everywhere. Push my heel towards the front to unfold my knee like I was in the chair and like I was in Trikonasana. This is the same thing. It's only gravity that changes the dynamics a little bit. Because of the amount, not because of the quality of the forces. And I'm going maybe to look at my hand also, or behind my shoulder. try to observe the respiration. And then we are going to come in the front. You take a brick. We are going to put the knees really close to each other. Come on the knees. Make space by trying to bring the fingers towards the heels towards the exterior, both sides, but the fingers try to stay together. So I'm going to put the brick in between my ankles, and I'm going to sit on the brick. What I can do also is to try to rotate internally the shin bone by grabbing my muscles and bringing the muscles towards the exterior, out of the way of the thighs. And I sit here, and this only the fact in sitting like this brings another kind of extension in the pelvic muscles. I will interlock the fingers and just put them really deep inside my thighs, and this posture is very, very stable, and you can use it to meditate or to sit in everyday life. It brings stability in the back, and like this you don't have the contractions in the back muscles, but also helps you stretch some of the pelvic muscles. So this is it for today. You can just sit like this for 10 or 10 minutes to feel what's happening, to feel what the work that we have done has done to your body, and I will see you soon in the next session next week. Try to repeat. Try to repeat every day these videos. So if you have time, you can do the videos as they are. If you don't have time, you can also do small parts of the videos. It's not a problem at all. It's something that can be done by little by little. I would suggest you to do the exercises with the ball and the incline plane in the morning, and then the rest you find some time. If you don't have no time at all, you do the videos twice. And see you soon. Have fun. Pay attention to your sensations. Don't go too far. And see you soon.